reminded of the Choctaw Indians in the 1850s. They were kicked out of their homeland where they had been for thousands of years in the southeast part of the United States, and were sent on this trail of tears, as they called it. It was called that because thousands of tribal members, the Choctaw tribe, other tribes that were part of this, the 5 nations that were evicted by the United States government, they lost people due to sickness, illness, famine, and it was a horrible, horrible time for them. They lost everything. So many of them died. And yet we learn in the 1840s, somehow the Choctaw Indians heard about a problem in Ireland. How they heard of it, there was no internet back then. They had no cell phones. But somehow, as they were on this trail of tears and had completed this trail of tears, this suffering of their own where they lost everything, they lost their homeland, they had nothing left, they heard about the potato famine in Ireland that was killing millions of people in Ireland. And so what did the Choctaw Indians do? Even though they had nothing, they were down to nothing, they lost everything, they dug deep and they came up with $170, I think $174, which today is equivalent to $5,000. Now, where did they get that? They had nothing, and yet they felt in their heart there was a greater need someplace else. So they sent that equivalent to $5,000 to Ireland today. They had nothing, and yet they came up with what they knew others needed, maybe even more. And so what happened? There was an appreciation by the Irish people. There is a beautiful, beautiful monument that has been erected in a park there in I think it's County Cork, Ireland, and to show the relationship between the Native Americans, the Choctaw especially, and the Irish people. You see, both peoples, the Irish people and the Native Americans, were being overrun by oppressors, other governments that had come in and were trying to control them. So there was a certain closeness of the heart that they had. So when the Irish people heard about how the pandemic here in 2020 was affecting the Native Americans and the Choctaw Nation, and how many thousands were dying and sick, the Irish people gathered money, got onto the internet at that time. I think it was a GoFundMe account, and donated a lot of money to help the Choctaw Indians. What goes around comes around. We give not expecting anything in return, but you know, there's this thing called karma, I think, and it works. And so the Irish gave a huge donation, a good donation, a helpful donation to the Choctaw people.